I try looking at my own life as if it's a movie and pretending like these are all the adventures happening in it just to make it more exciting.
Hey guys, welcome to Soul Vitamins. Welcome to Soul Vitamins. I'm your host, Sonali, and today I'm joined by Shivani. Shivani has such an amazing story. After graduating from college, she moved to Mumbai to pursue her career as a Bollywood TV host, actress, and model, and has since moved back to the US to build out her brand as an influencer, and also founded Behind Every Dream, which is a podcast that features the not so glamorous moments and journey behind everyone's dreams. So we're really excited to have her today. Shivani, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. What an incredible intro. I love the confetti. And you encompassed everything. So thank you so much for having me.
Yes, thank you. I had to have an extravagant intro for you after seeing your viral engagement video. Was insane. So not only did that have confetti, you had a limo pick you up from the airport, a dress waiting for you, rose petals everywhere in Paris. I mean, Soulvites, go check it out on her channel if you haven't seen it yet, because this was a full cinematic production. Like the gal's fiance had a full storyline, her friends as like actors in it. It was crazy. And it ended with an amazing dance number in front of the Eiffel Tower. So that was crazy.
The bar, very, very surreal.
The bar has been set too high. Thank you for that. If my future husband out there isn't planning to top that, thank you next. Why I wanted to have you today and why you inspired me so much is because of your authenticity and how genuine you are on Instagram. You talk about that being one of the main pillars of your brand. And I think that's amazing because you've now built this huge follower base of 400K plus followers who are now looking at you and can relate to you, trust those brands you're pushing, and also just enjoy this like fun content you have with your family. So I think with as much as social media is rising, we need to stay grounded in ourselves.
I always say I'm living my best life at 26, waking up and chasing my dreams on my own terms, practicing self-care and self-love on my own terms, showing up as the best wife I can while breaking stereotypes on my own terms. But what did it take to get me here? Believing in myself, desperation for a better life, asking for help, taking a leap of faith and hustling in network marketing. It took me showing up every single day, even when I didn't want to.
You do such an amazing job of that. So it's definitely a reminder to me as I go forward with Soul Vitamins to just be true to myself, and I love it. So thank you for that inspo, and cheers again. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I've got my glass of water with me.
Amazing. I didn't know if it was water or chai, but
it could have been chai, but I was like, it's okay. Let's ease on the caffeine today.
So your transition back from Mumbai to here, building out your base in Cleveland, how was that transitioning back, and what are the biggest kind of working cultural differences you noticed?
Yeah, so I mean, the two worlds are day and night apart. You can't possibly compare India or Mumbai, for that matter, to living in the suburbs of Cleveland. But I think there are a lot of parallels too, right? There's a lot of, there's different aspects of like my journey. And I feel like my entire social media presence has always been about sharing the journey of whatever aspect or whatever chapter of life I'm in right now. So people have seen me going from college to then, navigating India to then moving back to the US. And I started out in New York and then going from New York to Cleveland. So I always feel like I try looking at my own life as if it's a movie and pretending like these are all the adventures happening in it just to make it more exciting. But it's been a huge amount of learning happening from both cities.
That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, my family's from Sri Lanka, so whenever we vacation there, the cultural differences are like shocking, and that's just from a vacation side. So I can't even imagine the working part of it.
Oh yeah, I mean, it's poles apart, the way the industry operates, the way how streamlined things are here. I mean, I always say this, there are pros and cons in every single city in this world. I think it's just about making the most of the situation that you have and running with it.
It's so great that you've, at such a young like age, you were able to experience so many different like settings, New York, all of that. It's great for just like, I feel like cultural learning, but also just to be in different environments.
Definitely.
Yeah. So want to talk about behind every dream. I love, it's kind of similar to what we're trying to do here with Soul Vitamins. So tell us about what inspired you to start that and what's kind of been your biggest takeaway or aha moment from some of those interviews.
How we as humans think about other species often don't even think that they have the same right to live that we do, and that they don't feel pain, they don't feel suffering.
Yeah, so I think Behind Every Dream started very, very organically. It wasn't like, oh, I need to think of this idea and then it just kind of came. But throughout my journey on social media, the one I would say commonality in all my content has been I really enjoy sharing the behind the scenes of how any end milestone ends up happening. So whether I was in Mumbai going, for modeling auditions, I wanted to show that process of how you would actually land an audition, or whether I was interviewing a celebrity, what they were actually like behind the scenes. Because I feel like on Instagram, we tend to just see that final highlight reel, but no one tells you about what happens like behind the camera, like all the chaos and all of this that happens that never really makes it onto Instagram. And Behind Every Dream was kind of a reflection of all of that, but a community where it's not just about like my dream as Shivani Bafna, but each and every one of us is working towards a dream, right? Whether you want to be a doctor, you want to start a new TV show, whether you want to work in the finance, whatever the industry is, we all kind of have a journey that we're working towards, and just celebrating more of those highs as well as lows and talking about it. I think more and often than not, we realize there's so much in common with all of us. And it's not just about these like picture perfect Paris moments. It's about 85% of it, which looks nothing like that.
So true. So true. And I think it just helps people make the move to get started when they know that it wasn't just an easy path, just so that they don't get discouraged by like every little hiccup on the way.
Because I think subconsciously when we're scrolling, even if we think that we know social media is a highlight reel, you inevitably end up comparing, right? But you're comparing 5% of someone's life to like 95% that never makes it. Like I'm sitting on my bed scrolling through but people might look at my life and be like, oh my God, she's consistently smiling and laughing and goofing off, when that's only one fraction of it. So if we can just normalize talking about like the little moments, the things that never really make it to Instagram, for me, like that's the goal. I want people to feel good about their journey and wherever they are in their pursuit of achieving their dreams.
I love that. I love that. And not only have you shown other people's stories too, but you recently shared your process of getting verified on Instagram. Yeah. Congrats on that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Huge accomplishment. And I loved how you did that, because I feel like a lot of influencers portray that happened overnight, right? And that it was just like super easy. Maybe they were entitled to that, but you kind of shared that it did take 10 months. It was always a dream for you, and how difficult it was, but you just kept working towards it and finally got it. So
I think for any win that we show on Instagram, right, like what we think, oh, she got proposed to, oh, he matched to medical school, oh, like she started a new job, like we think that, oh, it just happened, when probably there were 10 rejections before that. There were like late 2 a.m. nights to like make that happen. But we never get to see it. We never get to hear about that. So whether you're an influencer or no matter what the profession is, I think we all kind of have those journey-like moments.
Yes, totally agree. So amazing idea. Love it. And now kind of going to how much you've kind of put your life out in the public eye. How do you deal with negativity in DMs or comments? I had one viral TikTok I was part of, and it was so like basically, where's my verification? I'm a celeb basically by just Just kidding. But it was a very lighthearted, like supposed to be funny TikTok, and the trolls in the comments were unreal. And I'm not gonna lie, I mean, obviously that any sort of negative comments like that are gonna hurt a little bit, even though it was like 50-year-old women that were like, nah, you know, in my comments. But so you have probably faced that. How do you kind of stay grounded and authentic in yourself?
Yeah, so one, I think staying grounded is just realizing that we are a little speck of dust in this entire universe, and you can't really take ourselves too seriously. I think two, Instagram aside, I'm still a daughter of Indian parents. I'm a sister, I'm a granddaughter. I have a family that like really, really keeps me in check and is like to the ground, you know? And I think regarding the negative comments, of course, I think it's funny how, you know, you receive 95% of like such validating, motivational, encouraging comments, but in our brain, we end up sticking to that 5% of like, man, like, why did he perceive that to be like that? Or why did we have to say it like that? Or why did she do this, you know, when there's so much else to be grateful for? But I think something that's really helped me, and I've talked about this before, is I really visualize like 10 people in my life that I know that know me inside and out, right? And they truly get my intention. So as long as those 10 people in my offline world get where I was coming from or are able to like truly understand the intention behind of it, then I feel like the rest of that noise you're kind of just able to funnel through and ignore because you're like, I'm never going to meet them in real life. I don't really care about their opinion. Like it's not going to mentally impact me to that. Like I can't give them that much power, if that makes sense.
I love that. Making my list tonight because that's
Yeah, I think it really just helps you, I think, stay so centered and so focused on what you want to do. If you're clear about, I'm not going to appease 1,000 people, right? And I think that for me, growing, especially on social media, whether you have 5,000 followers, 25,000, a future 2.5 million, at the end of the day, I just am focusing on those 10 people. As long as they like me and they are happy with me and they get it, rest is like, you can't spend too much brain power on it.
so true. And I think even with how so many relationships changed with COVID, in that your circles became so much smaller, right? So focusing on those 10 and nourishing those relationships are so important. So definitely making that list and remembering that for my next viral TikTok.
Yeah.
So favorite part of the show, the last question, what is your soul vitamin? So what lights you up, makes you feel fulfilled, nourished? It could be a person or just a thing.
I don't know where to begin because I think we all have so many different soul vitamins depending on the day. But for me, it's always been about the little joys, right? Like when I'm sitting at the dinner table and I see 6 chairs that are like filled at the table and we're just having a meal together. I love that, fostering great conversation, playing board games with friends, a great cup of coffee, going on a walk in like beautiful weather. I think it's just being really aware of those little joys because I think so many times we let the entire day go by or weeks go by and we end up focusing on just like 2, 3 like bigger achievements, right? Like, oh, I got this done or this happened. But all of those little things that we kind of it just is like routine. It's just like life, like those forgettable days. I think for me, that's my soul vitamin.
I love that. That's amazing. Yeah. I mean, we spend so much time just focusing on huge kind of milestones, and there's 10 plus magical moments every day that are the smallest things. So
yeah,
remember that for sure.
100%. There was someone that once asked me, Shivani, what do you want your legacy to be? And I was so stumped because I was like, legacy is like such a big thing, you know, like I did this and I impacted millions and I raised this amount of money and I donated. And I was like, I want my legacy to be in these little things. Like those are the actions that are actually going to get me to those big things. But why do we just gloss over that and focus all of our energy on the big stuff? So I think centering yourself and celebrating the soul vitamins in your life is definitely something really important to me.
Oh, love that. Thank you, Shivani. Do you want to share for our viewers how they can follow you across social?
Of course, it is Shivani_Bafna on Instagram. If you type in Shivani Bafna on YouTube, you can find me there. And on TikTok, it's Shivani.Bafna. So basically any iteration of Shivani Bafna. Thank you so much for having me. It was a pleasure chatting.
Thank you. And thank you again for tuning into this episode of Soul Vitamins, the talk show that features the stories of creatives and entrepreneurs aiming to spread a little inspo to others. See you next week.